Item number 4 is a report on the results of the examination of signatures on the 3 petitions submitted to amend the city charter, and I have a very brief presentation. As you know, on Wednesday, April the 11th, 2018, I received 3 petitions seeking to amend the city charter as follows. Petition number 1 is for a petition for a City of San Antonio charter amendment to set a limit on the appointment, term of appointment, and salary of a city manager. Petition number 2 is a petition for the City of San Antonio charter amendment to facilitate voter use of the referendum process. And petition 3 is a petition for the City of San Antonio City Charter Amendment to require arbitration in lieu of litigation in the event of impasse in collective bargaining. The Office of the City Clerk utilized the Bexar County Elections Office VOTEC Elections Management and Compliance System loaned to us at Bexar County Elections Office to verify the petitions. VMAX was programmed in accordance with provisions outlined in Chapter 277 of the Texas Election Code. The VMAX system allows users to search and verify by voter identification number, name, address, or date of birth, as well as providing for signature verification. The following numbers represent the signatures verified for petition number 1. So of those, 20,226 were verified as valid. And the breakdown, as you can see, identifies each individual of the petitions that we verified. For example, NR stands for not registered, so they're pretty self-explanatory. I will note that at the bottom, I did denote that that particular line, the unchecked line, includes blank lines, missing required data, and those that were not verified. Petition 2, there was 20,101 signatures verified that were valid. And for petition 3, there were 20,172 valid signatures. Per Section 37 of the City Charter and Section 9.004 of the Local Government Code, I have determined that each paper of the 3 petitions has a proper statement of the circulator and has been signed by a sufficient number of qualified electors. I hereby certify the results of my examination of each of the 3 petitions submitted to amend the city charter as valid. Said certification is hereby declared and no action is required. The City Council has until Monday, August the 20th, to call a special election for the November 6, 2018 ballot. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
All right, thank you, Leticia. Again, that was an item for briefing purposes only. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. Leticia, I just have some logistical questions about. Thank you. So, explain to me just the verification process. What is that? How does that look?
Okay. The verification process is set out by Chapter 277 of the Local Government Code, and it requires a multitude of items that we have to verify, and I'll give you some examples. The signer's printed name, the signer's date of birth or voter registration number, in which, of course, they have to reside within the city of San Antonio, the signer's residence address, and the date of the signing has to meet the criteria. Those are just a few of the requirements.
But you never contact anybody individually to see if they, in fact, signed it, or?
No, that's not part of the requirements.
Okay. And explain, you say here in the last section that City Council has until Monday, August 20th to call a special election for the November 6th ballot. So could you walk us through that? What does that mean for us to call this? But that means we have to put something on the ballot and we create the language, or is the language as presented here in the first part of the petition?
That's a question that Andy will answer. Our city attorney.
Councilman, yes, the next step would be for the city council to place the petitions on the next regularly scheduled election, which would be November. And the timeline for putting something on the November election, the last time to do that, date-wise, is August 20th.
And is the language on the ballot in November as it appears here?
Unless there's other language negotiated, the city cannot unilaterally change the language on the petitions. So to answer your question, yes, it has to appear as it appears on the petition.
Unless we negotiate, but who would we be negotiating with?
Well, that would be a difficult thing to answer since there are so many, petitioners that signed the petition.
Could you say who is signed, who's, you're talking about each individual person?
Right, exactly,
Oh,
right.
But who, because isn't there a petitioner?
Well, no, I mean, each person who signed the petition is in fact, they're in effect people who wanted to put it on the ballot. So unless there's a representative of the people who signed the petition that comes forward, then we wouldn't be able to negotiate anything. But if there is no negotiation, it goes on as it appears on the petition.
Okay. And we have until August 20th to do that?
Correct.
To identify if we are going to try to adjust the language at all?
Correct.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have, mostly logistical things. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gonzalez. Councilman Brockhouse.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to make a couple of comments about the petitions. And Andy, if you need to interrupt me, I just want to make sure that we understand the City Council's piece in this is purely ministerial. And I would hope that we just follow through with exactly what we need to do. And at the end of the day, and ministerial meaning we have no choice, can't stop this. This is going to go on the ballot. It should go on the ballot. The Texas Constitution clearly states if you obtain them, it goes on the ballot. We've seen what happens in Houston when they attempted to stall petitions over there, and it hasn't gone well for them in the court system to date. So, and also remember that even if they didn't meet the numbers today, there would have been a cure period where they could go back and get additional signatures to meet those numbers. So while the numbers look pretty close here, there would have been plenty of time for them to return and grab the additional signatures necessary. My only thing is just to keep in mind that at the end of the day, no matter what happens with this, just because you obtain the signatures doesn't mean the amendments pass. I mean, they go before the voters, and the voters are going to make the ultimate choice. And I think we have to be very cautious what kind of campaigns we run against this, the language we use, and the people we characterize as having led this opposition. Because at the end of the day, it was ultimately residents that signed it, regardless of who led it. I'm just asking that we keep that in mind. It's going to be a contentious few months. There's been a lot of talk about campaigns being ramped up against it, business community, chamber people coming out against this type of stuff. So we just have to keep it as professional as possible and always understand that no matter what occurs or happens, at the end of the day, the resident will make the ultimate decision. The City Council has absolutely no play in this. The law is very clear, as I understand it, Andy, that it goes ministerially straight on. Our vote simply puts it there. That's it. We don't stop it or slow it down. And any attempt to do that is going to be an affront to the process and the Texas State Constitution. So I hope we stick to the game plan. We let it happen. And by the way, I do believe you can work with the petitioners in this case to find language that makes sense, that's more easily understood by the residents, so they're making an informed vote. So I hope we as a council can reach out and have an opportunity to say, let's create language and opportunity so that people who are voting clearly understand what they're voting for. I think that's very important. And I do believe that the petitioners would be, have to be open to that. We've done it in the past when we did the streetcar. I myself negotiated the language with Robbie Greenbloom in the city of San Antonio. So you can make these things happen through partnership and opportunity, because at the end of the day, The citizens get the opportunity to vote, and I don't think we can ask for any better, regardless how we feel individually about it. We do feel that the citizens, at least we should feel that the citizens have the ultimate say and the ultimate vote. So I look forward to the opportunity to see where the citizens actually stand on this. All I ask for is a little fairness and equity in the conversation across the city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Brockhouse. Councilman Courage.
To a certain extent, I concur with Councilman Brockhouse, but also I have a slightly different view that I believe the City Council does have a role to play beyond the administrative role of putting this on the ballot. I think it's the responsibility of all of us on City Council to make sure all of the voters are adequately informed about the consequences, the results of their vote on these issues. Personally, I believe that many of the signers of these petitions were not well informed about what they were signing. I talked to people who said they were told one thing, and after they found out what the charter amendments actually meant, they said, that's not what I thought it meant, and can I have my name taken off? And they were told, no, once you've signed, you've signed. So I think it's critical that the voting public be given all of the details about what would be the results of their vote on these charter amendments so that we have a fully informed and educated decision, and so the city can function properly for the best interest of all of the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Courage. Councilman Pelaez.
Thank you. All the signatures counted. Leticia, I know that you worked really hard on counting that, and I know that your team stayed up late nights to make sure that the count was accurate, and I know that that was a very heavy lift, and I think that we would not be doing our job if we didn't recognize that, Leticia. You're more than just a rubber stamp and the person who files documents. You really do a very significant job around here, and I think that sometimes that's overlooked, and I don't want anybody to overlook that, right? So I'll let my colleagues talk about how important, and it certainly is important, that citizens engage and that they get all the information, and everybody has a First Amendment right, and including the people that disagree, and the campaigns will be very interesting, and I look forward to seeing what the results are. But it's you that I'm thinking about today, and you only presented 5 slides to us, but the work that goes into presenting those 5 slides merit mention, and so please accept my heartfelt thanks for doing this on such short turnaround time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Pelaez, and there will be a lot said over the next few months, and I will say that it is the duty I take very seriously as a member of the council, but also as the mayor of the city, to not remain agnostic when people attempt to hurt this city, which is, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, the motivation behind these petitions. So we look forward to the debates to come, but we do hope the citizens of this city take notice of what's happening here to make sure that they have a stake in the future, a positive future for the city. Okay, there is no action needed on item number 4, so we'll move on now to item number 5.